Cinema Classics is sponsored by the Gateway Film Center and is produced by John DeSando and Johnny DiLoretto. You can listen to full shows online at wcbe.org. I'm Johnny DiLoretto.
I'm John DeSando.
This is Cinema Classics.
Yeah, boy.
At 91. The guy's 91. What are you going to be doing when you're 91?
I'm going to be thinking about how he lived till 100.
Yeah.
And he's my model, so I'm working at it.
You think Clint Eastwood will make it to 100?
I think he will. This guy is intrepid.
Yeah.
He's still directing films and acting in them.
Cry Macho is his 40th some film?
Well, it's 45th that he's directed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good
and
Lord.
He's been in many more. His filmography. And you know, I was looking at his filmography.
Mm-hmm.
They're pretty substantial American films.
Yeah. You know, I feel like a lot of his movies... Well, Clint Eastwood means a lot to me personally. And, you know, I don't care about the guy's politics.
I don't either.
I feel like, you know, if you poked around there, you might find something worthwhile or whatever. I don't care. I feel like... and, you know, thankfully we don't have to wrestle with the question of, you know, like a Roman Polanski-esque question with this guy.
Yeah.
You know?
Now, although he has been married or fathered
right.
6 or 9 kids.
I might be part Clint Eastwood.
Oh, gee.
Wouldn't that be something? Find out you're part
Clint Eastwood. He was
Eastwood.
asked in an interview how many. He said a few.
So I feel like younger, I would think most people under the age of 50 or 40 even, around 40, between 40 and 50, probably only know him from the 90s on. You know, from his Unforgiven onward.
Yeah.
And, wow, I mean, to have lasted as long as he has, to have survived the vicissitudes of audience taste.
Mm.
You know, I heard someone else talking on a podcast recently about Clint Eastwood, and they said something interesting. So, Clint Eastwood, and to my point, he has somehow managed to avoid a lot of things, a lot of industry changes and fads. In other words, there's maybe one movie in all of his entire filmography that has any special effects in it.
That's true.
Think about that.
I know.
Clint Eastwood, the biggest special effect in Clint Eastwood movies is his face.
Look, he's a minimalist director. And he hooked me in 1971.
Dirty Harry.
Just before that.
The Beguiled.
No. Play Misty for Me.
Play Misty for Me. That was his directorial debut.
Yes, and that long tracking shot along the highway in California caught me, and I was noticing again, even in this recent one, Cry Macho, he loves the aerial shot that has the car going along as it did outside in Big Sur. And he just is a very romantic spirit.
Yeah.
And I thought Misty was mellow, insidious. I think it had some of the best qualities that he could have for his films, including himself as a broadcaster.
Yeah.
And one of the first directors to recognize that women are just as bad as men. I mean, he got that early.
Well, I mean, think about what he did in 1971 with Play Misty for Me was really usher in the whole 90s era of Michael Douglas's career. I mean, Michael Douglas spent a decade making movies like Play Misty for Me.
Very good one. And then Dirty Harry's the whole other side, right?
Yeah. Yes, of course.
And most people are going to remember him for that Dirty Harry role.
Right, which often, you know, is given short shrift. Dirty Harry is a fascinating character, especially in that first film. You know, sorry. That first film, you know, he was accused of being fascist by Pauline Kael. You know, meanwhile, she loved whatever Sam Peckinpah was doing, and it's arguable that he had a little, you know, streak of fascism running through.
You know, they did a psychological study
on
Pauline Kael's reviews of him.
Oh, really?
They said she was in love with him.
What? Are you kidding?
Yes,
How did I not know this?
Yeah, I just read this the other day.
What?
I said, well, of course.
You need to send this to me.
I know.
That's funny. It also it is worth noting. It's one of the first times I think in Hollywood history where a sequel to a movie, a sequel to a big hit movie, was directly influenced by the take of a critic, a film critic. So Pauline Kael leveled this accusation of fascism against Dirty Harry.
Okay.
In Magnum Force, the movie that comes right after that, Dirty Harry fights fascists. Literally.
Oh, excellent, excellent. I'll tell you, one of the missteps that I still can't figure because I really liked it. And nobody cares about it. I think they even laughed at it. He rarely does a laughable take on anything.
Okay.
But when he did Jersey Boys.
Laughable.
Yeah, meaning that people were saying he couldn't do it. He couldn't do a musical, even though the man is an accomplished jazz pianist. He damn well knows music.
He made the film Bird.
Yeah.
And
yeah. But I just
so
saying,
you know what? That's one of the few Eastwood movies I haven't seen. How is
okay, and I liked it. I liked it. I understand that people would say it's not sophisticated, it's corny. You just have these guys up there singing these cover songs and not a whole lot really going on. It just seemed like boilerplate musical about a boy band.
But I mean, it was adapted from the hit play. I mean,
I know. It just didn't. I'd have to go back to it to say why it didn't. Because for me, it was just fine because I love the songs.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna check it out. I'll let you know. But you know, a lot of his there's a thing Eastwood does. I've noticed. You know, he's legendary for his one take cut and print.
Oh my gosh!
Directing style. Now I feel a lot of times I can feel him. I'm so attuned to his, you know, his iconography and his style and his directorial sort of flourishes. I can feel when he cares about a movie, when he cares about the source material in a way. So, for instance, in Unforgiven, or a great unsung movie of his, which is A Perfect World, which I think is one of his...
Which is right after Unforgiven.
Yes, right, with Costner. I love that movie. You can see in the shot selection, in the way that he frames his actors, the way they move, like he's seeing it, and you know he may only do a take or two, but you can feel his the directorial marriage there between, you know what I mean, like the script and the image, and he's feeling it. There are other movies I feel like he doesn't care about at all. And I remember one of them was Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil.
Oh, yes.
And it's a terrible movie.
It's a mess.
But when you see the movie, it's like he doesn't move the camera at all. He doesn't care. It's like he put the camera down and said, okay, get in front of it, cut. He doesn't, you know what I mean? You can feel when he cares about the source material.
He is notorious. Tim Robbins said in Mystic River.
Yeah.
That he does maybe two takes if you're lucky.
Yeah.
And he starts at 9, not any sooner than 9, and he's done after lunch.
Well, you know, that style has kept him in the good graces of the studio.
Oh, for sure. Good point.
He has finished his films on time, always under budget, and you know, he's had this relationship with Warner Brothers for 40 years now, or more, 50 years maybe. So it just goes to show you when you stay on time and you're not fussing, you're not spending more money than you're allotted, and that movie makes a profit. That's the business, right? And somehow along the way, he's managed to make great art.